I found the SMS.
Please.
It came at 6:29. Yeah, 6:29 a.m. From 20667. A known number of policemen killed, 4 police vehicles burnt in an ambush by Al-Shabaab in Yumbis, Garissa County. 6:29 yesterday in the morning.
Which is okay. Which I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
What do you mean there's nothing wrong
What
with
do you
that?
mean
If
there's
no one
nothing
is
wrong?
now dead,
Just a
who are they
minute.
talking
Just a
about
minute.
having
Just a
dead?
minute. Just a minute. What I'm talking about is that there's nothing wrong with that, with sending that message, because first of all, the media actually probably based this on their sources on the ground. You see, they probably based that on the sources of
But
on the ground.
isn't that a journalism principle? If you're going to base it, say according to who? Don't just, because the minute you
that was just an alert. That was just an alert, and this is why I keep on talking about this thing we call
so alerts should just be
a developing
whatever.
story.
You can say anything.
That's why sometimes, I mean, when it comes to alerts, there are times when actually media sends out alerts, yeah, and then they send something called like correction. You see, within maybe an hour or even 2. Even when you look at wire stories, even if you look at wire stories, there are times when actually they update a story maybe after an hour or 2 when they get more information. You see, but before that...
So you're saying there's no need to attribute. You can just say people have been killed, and then
because
after
that is the first information that you got. Then probably as you confirm going forward, you actually make corrections. This is a very common practice actually, even in wire stories, that you get the first update, and then after that they'll send the second one and tell you like with corrections, you see, or telling you that we have now confirmed that actually it's not unknown.
Many
maybe
would argue
it is
that
one
it's
or
perhaps
2.
not professionally.
No, actually,
it is
very true. It is very
not
true.
professional.
It is not professional.
It is very true. No, it's
Uganda.
very
Let's
true.
first introduce Gadara
It is very true because you see what happens is this.
Hold on.
Uganda.
Clay, hold
Uganda.
on. Patrick Gadara has joined us, gentlemen. Good morning, Patrick.
Good morning. Sorry, I'm late.
Yes, Karibu Sana. Now, continue.
You see, the fact that it has always been done, the fact that wire stories have always run and news that doesn't actually
make it right.
Because I do not understand why you break a story that you don't have facts on to change it. Why are you rushing? What is the rush? And that's what I talked about the scoop. Somebody is trying to be the first one with the news. And the problem is that as you're trying to be the first one with the news, you actually first end up having a situation where you're going to give us false information. And then my problem, and like I was looking at, is it the Standard or one of the newspapers today that has a small apology, retraction on the story of the Murang'a governor.
That's not us.
That's not you.
No, I know the story.
That's on
yes.
the
I know
Star.
the story. I know the story.
It's actually you guys.
I know
Actually
the
you
story.
guys.
I know the
And you
story,
see, this is my problem. So you have this small retraction somewhere in page. What page is it on?
Page 4.
And you see, when you broke that story, it was a lead story. You broke it as a lead story.
No.
You ran it as a lead story.
No, it didn't turn as a lead
We are
story.
mixing issues
It
now.
did
No,
not
what
turn
I'm
as a
trying to
lead
say
story.
is, I'm actually trying to make the point of breaking news that you're not sure about,
Okay.
and then that you have to retract.
All
Because the retraction is never as prominently pushed as a breaking story.
All right,
So you
Gadara,
break a story on a known number of people dead, then you correct it somewhere at 3 p.m., and nobody actually gets that information.
All right, so Gadara, your thoughts on this one. Clay maintains that this is common practice in media all over the world, that you'll just, break this alerts and say all of these things, and then clarify as you go along.
I think there are 2 ways to look at this. First, I believe with regard to what happened yesterday, that all sides are essentially at fault here. The fact is, lots of media, and not just local media, international media also ran with the story of 25 people killed, 20 policemen killed. I think as news breaks, lots of them tend to hedge. They'll come out and they'll say, we are getting reports of 20-something people dead.
The international media, one of them, I think it was Al Jazeera, was quoting their sources in Al-Shabaab, the spokesperson.
Yeah, precisely. And they will identify where they can who those sources are. Or sometimes they say we are getting reports. Now there will be a proviso that these are either confirmed or unconfirmed reports. And I think in lots of what the media put out, at least what I would see online, initially it would say people were missing, suspected dead or such. So there is a bit of hedging that should go on, and it is to be expected that when news break, especially in places as remote as Yumbis, you know, where you don't have reporters stationed there full-time, etc., that it will take time to clarify. You know, I don't really think that, at least as far as the news business works, that we will get nothing until everybody is confirmed, you know, until all the facts are in. You know, that never happens. You know. The second thing is, lots of media do rely on official confirmations, on official sources, and in this case, the people who are supposed to confirm this, you know, were themselves confused.
Queue of the
You
media.
know, they were giving different stories, and actually these different stories went on quite late afterwards, you know, because at one point they were saying there was nobody who had been killed, and then you had, I think it was KTN, who had interviewed somebody on the ground who was saying, well, actually one of my soldiers had been killed, etc. So the confusion went on till late. I think government needs to look at itself, you know, before pointing fingers. I need to be asking, how come that its own system of issuing information seems to be so badly compromised? If we look back to what happened in Westgate, what did we learn from there, from the communication there? You know, and how better is it now? I don't think that government has itself built up enough credibility such that what they say would have the preponderance of truth. People are still quite doubtful, with very good reason, of what government says.